Hey, what is up guys, and welcome back once again to our Junktown settlement build. Today we're going to be checking out the mayor's office as well as the town's gun shop. And since the town is now pretty much done, I've also made up my mind on what the final name will be, and that's the Final Respite Trading Post. So as we go ahead and walk through the front gate for most likely one of the final times, it should be very clear by now that this is definitely more so just a trading post rather than a full-blown settlement with lots of houses everywhere or even some kind of a farm. And that there is pretty much the main reason why I chose that name. Well, that, and if you've seen any of the previous videos, you will have known by now that this is where the sole survivor made his last stand. So I think that too just ends up giving the town name even more meaning and substance. But anyways guys, now that all of that is said and done, let's go ahead and start making our way over to the actual mayor's office. And honestly, compared to everything else in this trading post, this area in particular is probably the most secluded. I mean, there's not really any neon signs sort of lighting it up. It's more so just off to the side, and really the only thing that actually signifies that it is the mayor's office are the small little paper letters right above the doorway. And if we go ahead and come inside here, you'll notice it's a very reasonably sized room. Definitely nowhere near the size of the mayor's office or state house that you would find inside of Good Neighbor. And speaking of that, for those who haven't been following along with any of the previous builds in this town, this room actually belongs to Mayor Hancock, who is now the mayor, or owner even, of this trading post, and has been since the sole survivor ended up passing away. If you haven't noticed already, this building is connected to the bar or tavern. And I figured this way, since Hancock doesn't really have any settlers or just people in general to sort of manage here, since it's more so a trading post rather than a place where people come to live, this would allow him to still keep busy while he spends his time managing the bar instead. So not only is this Hancock's office, but it's also his bedroom as well, and where he spends most of his time during the day. So I've tried to really theme it accordingly and make it feel quite homey to someone like him by including a lot of old world America style items and details everywhere, such as the various flags and banners, as well as some of the smaller details like the picture or framed flag. Additionally, really keeping in line with that sort of old world America theme, we've also got items like the typewriter, an old Boston bugle, and even some pre-war money as well. For this area in particular, the list of small details really does go on and on. For instance, we've got some jet sitting out on the desk, which I think everyone knows by now Hancock is a huge fan of. But other than that, there's also some other details that, without a bit of extra explaining, might not make too much sense. So the silver shroud card there on the arm of the couch was actually a parting gift from Kent Connolly, another ghoul who lived in Good Neighbor. And then the cane was put there to maybe simplify that over the years, Hancock ended up getting a little banged up, and therefore maybe needs that to help him get around a bit easier. Other than all of that, that really is about it for the mayor's office. So let's go ahead and start making our way over to the gun shop. So this one's actually located all the way over in what I think most would consider the sort of back alley of the settlement, since it is rather separated from the rest of the trading post. And I know I mentioned before that I was also planning on making a few other small shops and stalls, maybe outside of the settlement, but after finishing those up, I really just did not like the way they looked, especially from the outside. So really quick, I will show you where they would have gone, just in case you end up downloading the settlement when it's done, and are maybe looking for some more ideas to help expand it. So I had made 2 extra stalls out here, and it was going to end up being a pretty decent sized market outside the main trading post. However, if we come all the way out here, you'll notice that the trading post has a really cool silhouette, and even from a good ways away, the main gate really stands out, and it just doesn't look like a place that you'd want to end up attacking, especially if you were some inexperienced raiders. And unfortunately, the extra stalls out there just did a bad job at sort of breaking everything up, and it just made it look way too messy. So that's why, in the end, I did go ahead and leave those out. But yeah, last but not least, let's go ahead and make our way inside the gun store. So right off the bat, you'll see, even though this is a bus, and building inside one of these doesn't leave you with a whole lot of room or options when it really comes down to it. So what I had to do was really make the best with what I had, and I just kind of pushed everything as far as it would possibly go to the outside walls. And to help mix that up even more, I tried to use a bunch of different things rather than just tables. So you'll see in some cases it's just 2 boxes stacked on top of each other, and in other cases it's a big giant suitcase or trunk. So overall, I think that helped with the amount of variety and also the overall amount of color in here too. But anyways guys, that should end up doing it for today. So hopefully you did end up enjoying the mayor's office and also this extra look at the gun store, and I guess what would have been the market area outside. This also wraps up the rest of the major buildings we'll be covering in this trading post. So I'll continue to add a few smaller details here and there, but other than that, next up is the full settlement walkthrough, as well as the download as well. So stay tuned for that. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one.